I'm standing here beside Portsmouth's old historic courthouse, built in 1846. It's one of the many historic buildings here in Old Town Portsmouth. In recent years, this building has become home to the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center, one of the many museums here in the city. During the months of September and October, they have exhibits and Halloween events going on, as do some of the other museums. We'll look at those events on today's episode of Museum Moments. Welcome to our September-October 2018 episode of Museum Moments. I'm your host, Rob Lauer. And as I said earlier, I'm standing here at the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center that's housed in the old 1846 courthouse. I'm going to head inside and talk to curator Gail Paul about the events and exhibits they have going on during September and October. Let's head inside. Hi, Gail. Welcome back to Museum Moments.
Good to see you again.
So here we are at the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center, and there are a lot of quilts on the wall. So tell us what this exhibit is all about.
Okay, so this is To Have and Behold, 5440 quilters, African-American quilters of Virginia. I'd contacted them a while ago about offering an exhibition of their quilts. And we talked about different themes to offer. I was looking for something to kind of work with the same theme we have upstairs, which is the Underground Railroad. And so they picked that as one of the themes to follow. That also includes historic persons, different people, personalities, and Negro spirituals. So anyway, that's the theme behind this exhibition.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, there's some really, to my eye, not being quilters, looks like some rather traditional type patterns, but then some really unique things. Harriet Tubman and Jackie Robinson and...
Yes. So thread paintings were new to the group. Aretha Hendrickson, she does those. And so they challenge each other in many different ways. So it's an organization that's been in existence for about 25 years. And over time, they go to workshops, they do a variety of different things, but they challenge themselves to come up with different themes. So, and they exhibit throughout the area. So I was really pleased that they're willing to work with us.
That's great. Now, how long is this going to be on display?
This exhibit will be up through October 14th. Throughout that time, we have a couple of programs. So the reception for this exhibit is going to be September 7th. It's a Friday night from 5 till 8. The exhibit's currently open, but this coincides with our first Fridays. And then for Saturday, they'll be here to offer a workshop on quilting. So people can come between 10 and 5, and they'll be here quilting, bring projects and work with them.
And that's Saturday, September 8th.
September 8th.
September 8th,
10 to 5.
Great. All right. Are there any other events taking place September, October that are related to this? Or
in October, we'll do that again on the first Saturday.
Okay, great.
And so they'll be here once again to talk about their quilts, share what they do, share their techniques, and also because there's a variety of different things that they've done to create patterns in the quilt. So like even photo collaging into them. As I mentioned, there's thread painting. So there's a real variety. And then they don't all do like the quilting aspect. So there's long arm quilting that somebody else maybe would do this. Some of them also do their own quilting.
Okay. You know, when people think of quilting, it's, a quilt put on the bed to keep you warm. You're the art expert. Tell us a little bit about quilting generally. It has evolved into something over the centuries much more than just making something for a bed.
Right, well, it became out of use, and of course it was always considered like something women would do, taking old materials and basically using to keep the beds warm, or a variety of different things to cover something. And so it began as more of like a traditional craft form. I think it really has evolved into an art form. And so it's just, I think, kind of exploded. But also, there are different exhibitions that have been featured throughout the area, like the Chrysler did the G's Bend quilts. And that really, when people really took notice of like the modern art, how like the abstraction that was going on. And you see that in these quilts too, because it really becomes like an abstract painting almost. It doesn't matter that you're working with fabric, it's just a material. So, and I think that's always been kind of a misconception. I think a lot of contemporary artists really push the art, but people are considering like media for only a craft, but it's like a whole perception has changed as how you look at art, craft.
That's great, that's great. So, the dates for this again are?
So the exhibit opened last Saturday. and it'll be open through October 14th.
Okay.
At Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center.
All right, well, thank you for telling us all about it.
Thank you.
I'm joined by Joanne Crimity, and you are the president of a quilters organization. Give me the name of that.
It is 5440 African American Quilters Guild of Virginia.
And you have some work here, some beautiful work here.
Yes, we have work here.
So tell us about how you got into this art form, because that really is what it is.
It is. It really is an art form. We started the Guild in 1993. We've had our 25th anniversary this past March, and it was just 7 of us got together and we took a quilt class, and from there it's like history. So we've been quilting together for 25 years. It's a long time. We have seen each other's children grow up, the grandchildren grow up, go off to college, and we're still quilting together. So I think that is just an exciting part for me.
When you started quilting, were you just quilting like established patterns or things, or were you creating your own patterns?
We started out with the traditional patterns, like just the log cabin or something, the flying geese, that kind of thing. And as we grew older and more, I guess we wanted to venture out, and so we started different, different techniques. And we take classes all the time. We're forever finding retreats and going off and taking classes from quilt shops. So, and then it evolved. After a while, you get into your own groove and you do your own thing.
So tell us about some of your own things that are on display here.
I have a few. This one, it is paper pieced. My first time, attempting this. I and my girlfriend, Gladys, worked on this thing. It just drove me crazy because of the points. But the fabric selection is always mine, and it came together really neat. So this is a major step up from what I started out doing as traditional patterns. So this is one of the ones.
Where do you shop online? Do you travel around to find the fabrics? What do
you got to travel. You have to. Let me tell you, whenever you're with a quilter, we have a big book like this, has every quilt shop in the United States. And with that said, we stop for quilt shops. People stop to eat, we stop to shop for fabric. We have fabric from everywhere. I went to Africa one year, and I took big suitcase and a small suitcase. Small suitcase with the clothes, big suitcase came back with fabric. So this is our mindset. But yeah, everywhere there's a quilt shop, we have been. Yeah.
So what are some of the other pieces you have here?
I have this piece, and then I have a Harriet Tubman in. I have a piece that I got up one morning and I decided that I needed to dye fabric. And so I have a piece where I dyed fabric. I think I dyed about 7 or 8 yards of fabric, and I did that. And we had one of our guild members, Brenda West, challenged us to take a 5-inch square and to change it. And so what I did was I dyed the fabric, I cut it in half, I added black to it, and so you got I think it's a pretty quilt. Lots of fabric, lots of color on there.
Now, I noticed in the next room, one's by, I think it was from Outhouse to the White House.
Oh, yes.
Is that yours?
That's mine.
Okay,
that
so tell us
mine.
about that.
That came about, it had been an idea in my head a long time. And so when President Obama was elected, I decided, I needed to do that to get it, memorialized in my home. And so what I did was I did the research, and I did from slavery, or when Africans first came over from 17th century, all the way down, and everything that was significant to me that I could remember during that time frame. I rolled it off on fabric, and I printed it out. And then just everywhere you look on that quilt, it's something that reminds us of our African American heritage. And so when you look at the first African American president of the United States, and then you look back at slavery, and I just thought from the outhouse to the White House, it gives me goosebumps now to think about it. And I worked on it. It took me about a year to do it because it was just so emotional, and it was so much history. You can't put everything on it, so you have to make it so that somebody will display it, so it has to be small enough. But it's a very meaningful quilt, and I hang it in the house. And in the middle is the Emancipation Oak from this I live in Hampton, so the Emancipation Oak is housed at Hampton University, so that's in the middle of the quilt. And then the history, and then there's an outhouse, there's a White House, and then there's my house. And so we had to put my house in there. 'Cause, yeah. Help the story to get on that, from slavery to now. And we have evolved as a people, and it's just a wonderful quilt. I love it.
Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
So, anything that you're working on right now?
I am working on a series, and it's a historical figures. I have Harriet Tubman already done. Frederick Douglass is on the design wall. I'm looking at Zora Neale Hurston. I love her poetry. I love her writing, and Langston Hughes. So I'm trying to figure out how I can get them all done, and with the problem that I'm having with Frederick Douglass is his hair. I can't figure out just how to get it. And somebody's going to teach me how to paint, so I'm going to paint some of the lines in there. But yeah, those are the historical figures I'm working on now, and that's on the design wall. And I'm also doing homeless quilts for my church, and I give those in. We house them for a week in December. So I'm working on, just having those ready to go this year.
That's great.
So
That's
yeah.
wonderful. Well, good luck with your art form.
Oh, thank you. With my art form. Yeah, I came from tiny little pieces to this, to the portrait quilt. So I can see my growth every time I see some, because I have some of my earlier quilts. They were a mess. But I still keep them because I was a mess. So, the more classes you take, the more you interact with other quilters. We go to retreats, and, you see other people's work, then you try to improve on your own work. And it just helps.
You're always challenging yourself.
Yes, yeah, to get better. To paper piece, I would have never did this 20 years ago. Would never done it. Would never done Harriet either 20 years ago. So.
But now, your organization, if people do you take new members?
We do. We're taking new members.
If someone wants to become
If somebody
involved?
wants to join, we meet on the third Saturday of every month at the Northampton Community Center, and it's on Todd's Lane in Hampton. And the new members are able to come in at 11 o'clock. And we work from 11 to 3. We have classes there. We eat as a community there. We share ideas. We kind of feed off each other, because people bring work and they go, "Does this look good with this?" No, that don't look good with that. So we change up stuff in the middle of the stream, or So it's a fun group. We're down some members because we've had some deaths, and people are getting sick and they don't want to come. But I think it's 3 of the originals are still there. So we started out with 8. So 3 of the originals are still there. And 1 is still living. So we had like 4 deaths. So
Do you have, I'm just curious, are younger people have
we
any
don't
interest
have
in
many
this?
young people. We do teach, some of us teach classes to young people, but I don't think that they're very interested in this art form.
Actually, I would just think that doing this with a group of people women who've been doing this for years would be such a, for lack of a spiritual experience.
Yes,
I mean,
it would be.
You're learning a craft that's been around for
Right.
centuries. You're here, you're sharing. It just seems to me it would be like church or something.
Right, yeah, it's like church. We have a good time. Let me tell you, we have a good time, but I don't think, we put it out to young people, but I don't think they're interested in this, because it's like something old that you do with rags or whatever, and it's just, and it's a very expensive hobby if you really look at it. You're buying fabric that's $10, $12, $14 a yard, and I needed 10 yards to do just the front of this, so it makes it difficult to get people in to spend money on this, and then it takes a while. There's a process, so it takes a while to come up with a product.
Well, it is more of a reason I think that people should do it.
To do it, yes, we should do it. But we do have classes, just involved in the process.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thanks so much for taking time.
Oh,
to
you're
come by
quite
and tell us.
welcome.
Beautiful work. Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
with the community here.
You're welcome. You're
Portsmouth Art and
welcome.
Cultural Center.
Man, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm joined by Stephen Granette. Welcome back, Stephen.
Well, thank you, Rob.
It's
Thanks for
always
having me
a
again.
pleasure to have you on Museum Moments. So, what is going on here in the months of September and October at the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center?
Okay, well, we're standing here in one of the galleries at the museum, and I believe you were talking with my supervisor, Gail Paul, earlier about the exhibit of beautiful quilts here by the 5440 African American Quilters Guild of Virginia.
Yes.
So this show will open on September 7th, and as many of our fans know, we have a series of first weekend events. So September 7th and October 6th will be, or excuse me, October 5th will be the last First Friday events of the year. So these events go through October. Now in October, we will also be having the first Friday, the last First Friday of the month, and the last First Saturday, but the last First Saturday is going to be a big event because it is combined with a kickoff to the Arts District here in Portsmouth, here in the Old Town District where the museum is located. And people are going to be able to tour the churches, a lot of the businesses that are unique to Portsmouth. And of course, we're going to have plenty of events going on here. Again, the quilters from this exhibit are going to be here, but they're going to be here all day during the event, from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And we're going to also have a glass lampwork artist. Her name's Emily Williams. She was featured in a glass show we had in the spring of 2017. And so she's going to be demonstrating. We're going to have glitter tattoos. And every once in a while we have the Rhythm Project All-Stars. They're a steel pan ensemble, and they're going to be playing from 11 till 1 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot going on that day just here. The big thing is going to be a plein air paint out that will start at 10:30. Anyone interested can register with the Old Town Business Association website, and there'll be a link to that on our website as well.
Okay.
So they'll meet in our gift shop at 10 o'clock, and then they'll get their positions outside somewhere around the city and paint, and then at 4, everyone will convene with their paintings and set up a show in our art annex. And there'll be awards. There's going to be a Mayor's Choice Award, a Curatorial Award, a People's Choice Award. So there are cash prizes for these awards. And then there'll be a reception following, I believe, from 5 to 6. So that'll be a really fun day.
That's a big day.
Yes, and the Old Town Business Association has done a fantastic job putting together these events. But I want to talk to you about our Halloween event, of course.
Yes, of
because
course.
you know that's my favorite.
It is.
So, this is going to be Saturday, October 20th, and it's going to be at the Children's Museum.
Okay.
So there's going to be a lot going on. People are going to be coming dressed up, and we're going to have a monster mash, so they'll play spooky music at some point, maybe a couple times during the day, and kids and their families can dance around in the Children's Museum, and we'll have a couple of activities, but I brought some props. This is going to be an example of a costume that someone can come in. Of course, this is my favorite iconic villain of all time, Darth Vader.
Well, yeah, I sort of think of you two as...
We're cousins, yeah?
Yes.
I keep him in my office, and and the staff will probably dressed up as well. So, so if you want pictures of any of this, I can send you pictures. But I'm going to show you a neat activity that I'm going to be doing. I did this last year, and rather than a small piece of paper like this, I'm going to have a big mural that's going to cover a table or two, and then we have these black light or phosphorescent lights that work with neon art materials. So I'm going to have neon chalk, like these things right here. And I can then draw with these chalks on the paper, and the black light will pick up the neon qualities of the chalk. So they'll essentially glow in the dark, okay? So this event is going to be October 20th. It's on a Saturday at the Children's Museum. It'll be all day, probably 10 to 4 or 10 to 5. And now you're not going to be able to see it in the light here, but we're going to turn the lights off so that you can see this glow a little bit better.
Okay, so we're gonna have some special effects.
Yeah, exactly. So when people come to do this in the room where I'll be set up, the lights will be off and they'll be
So
able
black
to,
lights?
yeah, it'll be all lit with phosphorescent lights.
Okay.
And also, I should tell you that we're going to have a face painter and a balloon maker, but the face painter will be using glow-in-the-dark face paint. And so, I don't know, is it working?
Your face is turning bright fluorescent pink.
Right, fluorescent pink?
Or orange, whatever that is.
And so people can then get their face painted. These, of course, aren't face paints. These are just chalks, so they probably don't work too well. But do you see? Am I glowing? Am
You
I
are
glowing yet?
glowing, even more than you usually do. Yeah, you
Really?
totally. Yeah.
Can you see that? See how the chalk really glows now? And
Next to your face, it's.
yeah, doesn't that look cool?
Yeah. Look that way, because you.
Well, this is probably a poor segue into the next part of this day, but at the art museum here, following Museum Madness, we're going to have an event more for adults.
Okay.
It's going to be a horror reading, and we have this every year. It's called Fright Flight, and it will start at 7 o'clock. It'll take place either here in the museum or in our art annex, and we're going to have local authors
Of horror stories. and
write
suspense.
original horror fiction, and they'll be reading these tales of terror to those who like being scared. But be warned, this is not for the young or light of
This
heart.
is an adult activity.
Parental discretion is
Parental.
advised, yes. So, but
And
it'll
now
be
you've been
fun.
doing this for several years now.
Yes.
Has the
museum-
turnout increased over the years? Do you?
Yes.
It sounds like something really unique.
Yeah, these aren't people that are coming just to reading stories, ghost stories that you can find in a book. They're writing, original horror fiction specifically for this event.
Wow,
Yeah,
that sounds horrifying.
I hope so. I know my looks are probably horrifying right now, but
No, just it
Interesting.
works for you, Steve. It really
okay.
does. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Rob.
Thank you for joining us.
All right. Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Here at the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center, there are going to be a series of writing workshops, and Stephen, you are here to introduce us to
Lisa Hart.
Lisa Hart. And Lisa, I interviewed you last year, and you are still doing these workshops.
I am, yes.
Okay, so tell us what you have in store for us this month.
Well, you interviewed me just before I was beginning a memoir workshop called Resistance and Resilience.
Right.
It was a memoir workshop of the Jim Crow era. We did two sessions of that at the Portsmouth Colored Community Library Museum. It was very successful. And those writers are going to meet here to present readings from the writings that they generated in that workshop on September 22nd at 10 in the morning. I hope that people come out and listen because the stories are heartbreaking, but they're also inspiring and sometimes talk about wonderful joy of being part of that community. So I hope people come.
Wow. Now, are you doing another workshop later on?
I am. We're going to start in late October, another session that'll be another 8-week session, again at the Colored Community Library Museum. And I'm pleased to let you know that we received a National Endowment for the Arts grant and a Virginia Commission for the Arts
Fantastic.
grant for that. So that
Congratulations.
that was wonderful. That's my nonprofit, Seven Cities Writers Project, working with Portsmouth Museums together, sponsoring.
Okay, and what will the focus still be the Jim Crow?
Yes,
How long have you been doing this, the Seven Cities Writers?
since 2014.
2014.
And we've worked with survivors of domestic violence, at-risk teenagers. I just came from a workshop. I'm doing an introduction to poetry in the Norfolk City Jail for a group of women. I've been doing that for 3 years now with both men and women.
What is, in your opinion, what is the benefit of someone maybe with no writing experience or actually taking a chance and expressing themselves personally through writing? What does that do for someone, in your opinion?
The one thing that everyone says is that they didn't know that they had a story necessarily to share. No one thinks they're that interesting, which is amazing. But once they start to share and people respond, it's very validating. It's beautiful to see. I mean, for everyone we've ever worked with, that's the one thing that unites all of them. And I have to mention also, friends of the Portsmouth Library have been allowing me to go over and shop in their basement book sale to take books to my incarcerated writers. So I come with a list of writers that they love, and I can just pull whatever.
That's wonderful.
So the people in jail are still reading books, and they are so grateful to have those books.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's wonderful.
Well, it's great the work that you're doing. And thank you for that. And thank you for being part of this program here at the City Museums.
Thank you. I have one more program to
sure.
talk about that I'm very excited about.
Yes.
So there are many wonderful arts and creative writing approaches to members of the military, veterans of the military. And I was very interested in working in that area, but I didn't really feel that I had the training, which, I mean, in some cases with PTSD, people really need serious training to be able to do the kind of work that I do in my venues. So I came up with the idea of doing a project that is starting in October, first week in October. You also served. It's a memoir workshop for the spouses, partners, and adult children of veterans, so that they can share their side of what that experience is like. That's a brand new one for us. I'm really excited about it.
But that's wonderful too. We know that the impact of being in the service.
It's enormous, yes.
But being the spouse or a child of someone. I mean, growing up around here, I had most of my friends lived all over the country because their fathers were in the service.
Exactly. And some of that is really hard and some of that is really wonderful. And I'd just like to be there to help them collect those stories.
And that will be here.
That will be here.
as well.
People can register for that, and there's no cost.
Yeah, because it's through 7 Cities Writers. That's part of our mandate.
fantastic.
They're all cost-free programs.
Well, that's great.
And in fact, I think all of the events I've talked to you about are free, and in this case, people need to register, but there's no cost. But the ones, first weekends and for special events, it's free and open to the public. But you are also doing a writing project on the 13th of October.
Yes.
With Vic Frasses. It's called 1,000 Words.
Yes.
That's it's free, but people should probably register first.
Yes, and that we can have as many people in that as will fit in the room.
Well, great.
I'm a poet, and I write mostly what's known as ekphrasis, which is writing in response to visual art. And in talking to Stephen about that and how much I love it, together we came up with this idea of inviting people to come to the museum. I will guide them through a sort of Google Slides presentation for how to look at art, how to begin to approach the idea of writing about art. They'll do an in-class exercise. If they're brave, they'll share. And then we'll all go over to this part of the building and explore the exhibit and write in response to the wonderful things that are over here. It's just another way to experience a place like this. It's so
Fantastic.
wonderful.
It sounds like a lot of fun, and really it's something not just fun, but something that could be really meaningful.
I hope
maybe
so. I
life-changing.
hope it changes the way people will experience the arts.
Well, that's just another reason to come to the Portsmouth Art and Cultural Center, to go online, check out what is on the schedule there, because there's something there for everybody. Thanks so much for joining us and telling us all about this.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you,
Thanks.
Lisa.
That's it for our show today. If you'd like more information on any of the exhibits or events that we've covered, simply log on to www.portsvaevents.com. I'm Rob Lauer. Join me next time for our November-December episode of Museum Moments.